guys in here with me. I'm Mark Howson. I'll be presenting down at Red Hat Academy. But I want you to come with me on a journey on this conversation because it's a little bit more than Red Hat Academy. As I was coming here trying to think about how I wanted to talk to you guys, I was thinking, what would you be interested in? And I started doing some research, and a story came out that really is extremely powerful. And it's a story about us as educators, those in us in the education system. We have a problem in our nation, and we are the only solution. I want to talk about that story first. Red Hat Academy is part of that, but that story is actually more important. And if you walk out of this room with only that story, I will be perfectly happy. Is that okay? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk today about is personal discussion, importance of education, Red Hat Academy, and then we'll do some questions. So let's do a personal discussion first. Okay? Why are you in education? Why are you doing what you're doing today, whether at an administration level or teaching level? Why are you doing what you're doing today? Now, for me, in my journey, I did it because it was for the greater good. I wanted to make the world better. I started off as a special ed teacher, working with emotionally disturbed kids. And that was where I got started. So I wanted to make something more bigger than me. Another reason I got into education was I wanted to help other people. It was important to me to go help other people. And you know, I just get a bang out of seeing somebody that when the light bulb goes on and you're working with them, it's just like, this is awesome, the guy. That's why I got into education. And I hope you can ask yourself a few questions right now as you sit here about that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some data. And I want you to take that data and turn it into your own life and realize how important we all are sitting in this room with our responsibilities to training youth. So let's take a look at the importance of education. Well, you know, everybody watched Apollo 13, right? I'm going to show you. We've got a problem, and it's a really big problem. If you look at the data and what we do as IT professionals, everybody heard the term STEMs, S-T-E-M, big thing in education, science, technology, education, and math. Now, if you look at the STEMs and the jobs coming at us, if you take a look at this graph that's in yellow, the second one over right here, what you're saying is we are in no way generating the number of degrees that we need to be able to staff the jobs that we have in America. And this problem is actually slowing us down as a nation. That's a big problem. If you look at this data, this is from Department of Labor's data. If you take a look at that data from a little different direction, again, this is from a study done by a couple of universities. And if you take a look down at the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down, it says computer science. This is on the average how many degrees we're turning out, a little over 2,000. And we're about 3,000 short every year of what we need to turn out in degrees. Now, if you go to the next one down there, you'll notice that that number consists of software engineers also, so this even makes this a little bit bigger. So what we're doing today is we are only turning out about 2/5 of what we need in this nation for jobs that are in demand right now. Another way to look at this is in 2020, I got this from code.org, but it's based on Department of Labor's numbers. In 2020, we're going to have about 1.4 million computer jobs available. But we will have only generated about 400,000 students. We're short 1 million students, 1 million IT people to come into the field. Now, for us in education, if you're on the business end of it, or thinking about tuition and curriculum, that's about a $500 billion opportunity. A lot. It's a big impact. The only answer is education. There is no other way to do this. Because if we don't get these people trained, they're not coming up. And if we don't do it in our school systems, college, community college, and high schools, it's not going to work. There is a massive gap. Take a look at that up there. This is some data that came in. I got the code.org. But if you look at the STEMs job category, about 60% of those jobs are in IT, technology. Well, look at the graph to the left and right to that. Only about 2.4 of our students in college are in technology. How are we going to address 60% of the needed jobs when we don't have at least 60% of the students? Only 2.4. And what's worse is over the last decade, that number's actually been going down a little bit. If we take a little deeper look at it, again, I went back to the Department of Labor's numbers. This is a different projection on 2018. They're actually saying, you know, the data varies from different people, but all has the same story. The problem's big. 71% of the IT jobs, and they're looking at in 2018 are going to be around IT. Now you look at the graph that's over to the right of that, and you'll see where it breaks down. You'll notice there's two categories: software engineers and network engineers. They represent the dominant part of what we need, almost 50% of what we need to address that. But if you look at the smaller numbers, most of those people are doing different jobs, but they came to those jobs out of those other two main categories. Pretty big need. You guys know where this all starts at, by the way? Why we only have 2.4 of our kids in college in our courses? It starts off in high school. 35 out of 50 states in this nation do not recognize computer science as applicable towards their graduation requirements. Connecticut's one of them. So why aren't these kids coming to college? They don't get interested in high school or middle school. Because we're not doing anything, because guess what? It doesn't count towards their credit. So for me, when I took a look at this data, the message I can leave is that if we don't start doing something there, we're not going to get that 2.4 to increase and get it bigger, because we're not pumping kids in with an interest, and we will never get to that 60%. We're not going to be able to address it. So that means lots of jobs that are here available in North America, in the United States, are not going to be filled by U.S. citizens because they're not there. Does that make any sense to you guys? This was shocking to me when I was trying to put this together. I started looking at this data and going, oh my God, this is a national problem. Well, it's not all bad news. You know, we've had double-digit increases in students in computer science degrees in colleges. The last 2 years, it's been like 22 to 30% increases. So we've had massive increases. It is picking up. Still not picking up past 2.4%. Well, you know what? There's another thing that we do. We have this massive national problem, but let me take this conversation to you personally about things that you can do to improve the people you work with, their lives, their students' lives. And to me, that's always important. I wanted to feel like I was doing something that made things better. Take a look at this chart. This comes from the CRA study, Computer Research Association study. This is looking at the top 36 jobs in the country that are satisfying to people. They like what they're doing. The ones in green are IT jobs. 6 out of 36 jobs are the most satisfying jobs in the country are in the IT field. That's just happiness. That's it. I like going to work. I enjoy what I do. Look at the number of jobs. It's on the far left over there. Those are the jobs that will be created new. The far left one, the dark colored one, and that's about 800,000 jobs are going to be created new in the next few years, and by 2018. But when you look at people leaving the field through retirement, stuff like that, and you add that in there, we're looking at 1.4 million jobs in 2020 that we need to fill. Well, you know what? It's kind of cool to go out in the job space and realize that every time you put an application out, you're not competing against 500 other people for the same job, which is what this is telling us. You know, it's nice to be in a field that's high demand, because that means you're going to have work. Let's take a look at some calories. I pulled this from Indeed.com. You can go out and pull the same data. Okay? Let's just take a look at this data real quick about what we can do to improve our kids' lives, our students' lives. Well, high school grad, 32,000. Depends on how I run it. If I wrote high school diploma, it was 19,000. High school grad was 32,000. So I just picked a higher number, because the point of this graph is showing a scale of how we can improve people's lives. If they go to high school, they become a network administrator. Look at that, $45,000 a year. That's a pretty big bump just for becoming a network administrator. Now, let's say they go to college and they graduate. Average graduate, based on this data, was $63,000 a year. Indeed.com searches all the job offerings, all the job postings across a lot of websites, and compiles this data into one database, which I found quite interesting. Well, if they have a computer science degree when they come out, look at that, $79,000. That's a $16,000 bump just because they got a computer science degree over a college grad. Well, a network engineer, wow, $94,000. And then if you take a look at a software engineer, $99,000. So when you work with your students and you're getting them these skill sets when they come out of school, look what you're doing to their economic life. That's dramatic. What is that going to do for them? And what's it going to do for their family? What's it going to do for their children? You're having a chance to impact multi-generations by giving them a good way to make a living that's in high demand. So I'm going to give you a call to action. if you have nothing walking from here, I want you to remember this call to action. There's 3 things I want you to remember. What this data tells us. Number 1, we need to focus on turning out software engineers and network administrators and engineers. Those people who do those jobs, those core, almost 50% there, we need to focus on getting those out of our system, getting them going into the workspace. That's call number 1. You need to think about in your business, in your school, whatever you're doing, that this needs to be something we focus on if we're going to address that 1 million job gap that's going to happen. Number 2, they need to be certified when they walk out of school. And I'm going to tell you why. I hire people. I'm sure many people do here. If that resume doesn't have what you're looking for on it, do they get to talk to you? And the way we're doing modern searches, it doesn't happen. When I go to hire my staff team, I'm looking for some core skills. I can build on those skills, but I got to have those core skills, or you're not walking in the door. If they're not certified when they walk out, they're not going to get the opportunity to do those kind of things. And lastly, the third call to action is we need to get to the kids young working in computers. Now, remember in public education, we talk about computer training, it's generally about productivity. Can they do word processing? Can they make a website? Can they do a brochure? It's more about the things we produce out of it rather than truly working on the computer. So we have a battle to fight that many people in education still see technology as those work productive things and not looking at the layer underneath about the whole infrastructure and coding. Okay, so we've got to fight that battle. That's probably the biggest reason. And when I was doing this professionally, that's all my district was interested in. I was in the 6th largest district in the state of Texas. I wrote K-12 curriculum for them. It was about productivity, about how do we work with information, how do we get information, and how do we articulate back our understanding of that information. Okay? We've got to get a change. We've got to move education from that thinking of a decade ago to really what it needs to be today, which is more about writing code and doing those kind of things. And we've got to get our legislatures to start counting computer science as a science. The STEMs. We put them all together for a reason. Science, technology, education, and math. But yet in 35 states, technology is not considered part of that. They take it out. We've got to change that. You got to start talking to your state level and start getting that change so these kids can start taking these classes and count it towards their graduation. If they can't count towards their graduation, it's not going to get much focus. Now, if we can't get that to happen, we're not going to grow that 2.4% in the college because they're going to come to college without a foundation. And then we will not have given them the opportunity to get interested. Right now, the kids that show up largely get interested out of a hobby or some parents or something like that. It's just a personal thing, but it's not being farmed, it's not being developed. And we've got to change that. If we don't, we're not going to address that 1 million because we'll never get enough students come out. At the present state, if we don't get this change, we're only going to have 400,000 students to address 1.4 million jobs. And you've already seen how high paid these jobs are. So if you walk out with nothing, those are the 3 calls of action. I want to hear about it. If you have something you want to do in your state, in your area, you need my help with it, I am deeply passionate to help address that. And this is what came to me as I started preparing this talk. These numbers kind of startled me. It's been a while since I looked at them. It's like, wow, we got in trouble here. We got in real trouble. If we don't do something in this room on a personal level to change that, it's not going to change. So, we talk about Red Hat Academy. I present this all the time across the globe. It's a great thing I was able to design. And let me talk about what it is. The mission is to take these students right here. And first off, this is Red Hat. We have kind of this weird thing. We're not just a corporation. We have a real belief in some stuff. One of the first things we want to see happen is turn those students into advocates for open source and open standards. I completely believe that the future of particularly the OS level of technology is in open source and open standards. Matter of fact, I would advocate this. You've heard today from Red Hat Atomic Companies, we're a $1.7 billion company. We're growing massively. I'll show you some data around that. Open source is not growing because of us. We are a symptom of what's happening. Our success is a symptom of this movement to open source, open standards. There's freedom at a basic level to operate your stuff. Also, we like to have to be Red Hat technology people. I have to admit, I'm a business, okay? I like to see more people trained in my technology and apply that technology. If they're able to do that, then we can grow open source and open standards. That's important to us. And I think everybody in this room knows that you can have our software for free. We don't care. You can look at the code all you want. We don't care. It's just part of our DNA as a company. It's what we do. And if they have skills they can go to make money doing this, we can do this really well. Okay, so what does he offer? Pretty simple. One, we offer our Linux courses. We can take you to what was called a system administrator. Remember earlier, a system administrator is about a $45,000 a year job. I have kids that have been in high school today that have come out with that degree, with that certification. We can also take you to the RCSE, a Red Hat certified engineer. Now remember, the high dollar goes for an engineer. This program can take you out and put you there. We also have our middleware, our JBoss admin, which is about these massive database sites that pull information together so people can work with it and access it. And we're also JBoss developers. Well, JBoss developer is writing code. So we do have stuff in the program about those software engineers. And probably one of the more exciting things we have is we have OpenStack. We are the only organized curriculum that is in the market that's being given to schools, instructors who can teach using the curriculum their students. You know, some people are doing some odd stuff with offering online learning and stuff like that. But what we're giving you is we're giving you a full curriculum that you can teach with, a full semester course. Now, why is that important? Think about this. You guys know what's going on. I've been out on the floor all day. Cloud, 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 cloud. OpenStack is about cloud. If you need to manage cloud environments, that's what it does. So this is a program in which you can take it from the basics of how to operate a machine all the way to operating a massive system in the cloud. They come out of school with the technologies that people are screaming for, that they need, and be highly employable. The curriculum is offered online. It is mobile device friendly. It includes tests and stuff like that. Here's my instructor. Okay? How many guys, if you're an instructor, you tell the kids go do homework and you never know if they did it? Well, this thing records it, so I can look at it before class and say, who did their homework? And so we can see that data, and it literally is our commercial product. This isn't some rehashed thing. You're getting the same kind of stuff that we use commercially today with our students. We're giving you that power, that quality, so that you can replicate it into your classrooms. The lab system we have is really, really cool. Okay? It's so cool, if you're an instructor, you'll love this one. When the kid finishes his lab, he hits a button, and the system checks to make sure the code's right. So you don't have to read every line of code for every student. But it also gives a student instant feedback. Oh, I didn't do something right. And what we find is, as an instructor, what happens is they go, I didn't do it right. They go back and look at it before they talk to you. And then they figure out how to self-correct. Well, if you're in the teaching profession, when students go back in and they relearn, reassess, reevaluate, use higher order thinking, and they correct themselves, that is the most powerful learning tool you have available. And it runs on your school's hardware. Guess what that means? You've already got computer labs, and you got computers. That means you don't have to buy more stuff or pay more stuff. By having it run on your lab system, I bring my cost really, really low. So let's say bring it to you at almost no cost. Now, there's some other cool benefits that you get out of this program because you're going to come out certified. Red Hat has a job locator, and it's designed where you go on our website. If you want to look at it, say, just type in Red Hat Professional Locator. Any employer can go in there, type in their zip code, type in what certification they're looking for, and type in how far away they want to look. Let's say 25 miles or 50 miles. Put their zip code in. Every professional who's certified in the area will pop up with the contact information. Now, you already got the idea that we're a high-demand area. So we're helping employers find you. And isn't that kind of cool? Because now when you get out, you know that people are able to find you rather than you have to search so hard yourself. Very, very powerful. And you're part of a community also of Red Hat professionals worldwide. So you're part of a community now that can communicate, talk about your best practices, keep into it, and be involved. Because if you don't know this, Red Hat is all about community. As a matter of fact, Red Hat only exists because of community and people working together open source. Where does this program fit? Now, think a little bit about this. The program fits in K through 12. I've had a lot of high schools in this program. Think about a high school coming out being able to make 45,000 plus because they got a network administration capability. It fits in technical colleges, community colleges, and it fits in universities. I actually have all that category in the program today who are successful in implementing this program. But there's another place that really fits that's important to us, and that's workforce development programs. Across the globe, we have people who focus on very specific communities who need jobs. They would never be our students because they wouldn't come to our classes, But we're trying to grow a workforce for local business needs, a lot of other reasons, usually special populations. Okay? And that works really often. We have universities coming together, sometimes businesses sponsor it, sometimes governments pay for it, but these are called workforce development programs, and that's another place this fits really, really well to scale out the workforce real quick. You know, I've got a program like this working in Mexico right now. I've got a couple of internationally. I have one that I'm getting ready to kick off in North Carolina here real quick. But these are special needs kids or special populations that have special things that we are able to affect and change their lives through this program. Now, last thing I want you to think about is okay, this is great to us. I'm talking about cool stuff for us, but let's think about what is the student value here. Okay, the first thing I did is I said, what do people make with the certifications that they can have coming out of this program? Look at that chart up there. Each one of those are a certification that you can earn coming out of this program. And again, you can go check this data yourself. It's on Indeed.com. I just did a search on it to see what is the average job posting offering for work. This is what they're offering when they post the job. A lot of, the basic certification as a systems administrator, Red Hat certified system administrator, that's $81,000. Yeah.
Roughly how long does it take to complete certification?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. We recommend in our program that the basic certification, CSA, that involves 2 courses, System Admin 1 and System Admin 2. That takes you to the CSA level, and you take the exam. So that would only be 2 semesters. Okay. Each one of these courses, except for the Red Hat Administrator, are 1 course, 1 semester course. This works really well at 16 weeks or a quarter, or 12 weeks, a quarter semester works really well because it gives the student lots of hands-on time, and we find they have a really high rate of passing the exam because what translates to passing this performance-based exam is time on the software itself. And they do very, very well because of that. I've got one program in North Carolina, it's over towards the coast. They turn out 75 engineers every single year, their program, year over year. Anybody like to be making this much money? I think I'm in the wrong job, to be honest with you. I said, okay, so what does this compare to somebody else? And I'm not dishing anybody, but this is well known. CEN's done these studies. But look at the Microsoft, the Cisco, and the Red Hat certification. I want you to see this because we know that basically the more demand you are, the more you make. But look what the growth rate of people posting for jobs with people, just Red Hat certifications in general. Look at the growth rate. Now, we are not a great big player. We're not Microsoft. Okay? But when you look at this, you see dramatic and rapid growth going on. Wow, covered a lot of stuff. See, I'm really good at doing what I do. Even if I get my time cut, I usually stay right on time with it. And really, I wanted to give a little time to have a conversation. Now, with that said, you have an opportunity to change people's lives with this program. Even if you don't want to do my program, you have an opportunity to change people's lives, and you need to be doing that. You need to be helping us nationally because we have a job shortage that needs to be addressed. And right now, our colleges are not addressing that shortage. We're not even getting enough students in the college programs to even come near addressing it. We have to change that. And part of it here, like here in Connecticut, you can't count computer science towards your degree. They have to hide it in some math class or something like that, so it's kind of a little bit of it. That needs to change if you're going to make these big changes in this state. And it's not hard to change it. You've already got a lot of states that are moving that way. I think what we have to do is just tell them it needs to change. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a code guy. When I took Fortran in college, that's when I realized I was not going to be a code guy. How many of you guys are code guys in here? There you go. It's a different kind of thing. Okay, I didn't go to college until I was in my 30s. Okay, if somebody got me into code early, that may have been all completely different. We need to be doing that. Now I can write some code now, but I'm so bad at it that I'm better off hiring people. So that's just me. I'm a training and education guy. So what I want to do is say that's the program. Really pretty simple. Okay, I can show you some more data. I was careful at the time. This is Cisco job hiring applications. You notice that Cisco today, over the last few years, has kind of flattened out. It's not declining. It's not growing. So unlike us, we're rapidly growing because where we're at. This is Microsoft right here. Again, about like Cisco, it's got its market. It's stable, but it's not really growing or declining. I like to say if you're Cisco Microsoft certified and you apply for a job, you're competing against 200 people. If you're with Red Hat, people are looking for you. I thought this was kind of an interesting number. Here's a Red Hat system administrator. Look at the growth that's going on here. You know, about 600% on average over the last few years, year over year. This is a OpenStack administrator. Remember, OpenStack is just coming on, but look what's going on here toward real recently. Look at the climb that's going on. If you're OpenStack certified, you are not looking for work in any way, form, or manner right now. Here's JBoss developer, another big area. Look at that, writing code like mean average about 100% year over year. Here's a Red Hat JBoss administrator. Again, we're looking at about 1,000% growth in demand for that job. This is the job postings out there, guys. This is people are saying, I need people, and how much growth is going on. And then lastly, I'd like to show you how it lines out. If you look at how the courses line out, particular structure, we have Red Hat System Administration 1 and System Administration 2, and the dark boxes on top. And of course, at that point, you're going to take the RHCSA exam. You're going to be an administrator. You're on track now. You can take, from there you can split off. You can go to System Administration 3 and become an engineer, Red Hat Certified Engineer, or you can go over and do the OpenStack. And then after that, you can come back around and finish off the other one if you want to. They all flow together. Because basically OpenStack runs on top of Linux. And I don't know if you guys have looked at this much, but basically you think of a whole bunch of little boxes, and then you have virtualization in the boxes. That's Linux right there, RHEL. And then how do you get all these boxes to talk together? That's OpenStack. So that you can manage that. I got one guy who manages 9 data centers, 2 physical and 2 in Amazon Cloud across the globe. One guy, we're spinning up thousands of machines every day. One guy manages the whole thing. And then, of course, we have the JBoss administration, JBoss developer. They're kind of separate. Developers around code, JBoss is around administration, these massive database-driven websites. Now, if I keep that up there, you guys will talk to me. So shut that off. And ask you guys any questions. What can this do for you? What can this do for your school? Think about where you're placed at. Yeah.
Yeah, does this program go for only school settings, or could someone go and do it on?
This is for only academic situations, and we do have a self-paced course that you can do on your own. That's designed for people who want to learn on their own. I built that one also, so I can tell you a lot of details about that one. But I designed the academic course to have the idea that it's about you have an instructor, and this is really about people new into the field that don't really have a lot of foundation, who are going to need some help and some coaching. So this is designed. The whole design around it is that you have a teacher involved who's directly working with you to get you going through this thing. Now the curriculum is really solid. It's a commercial curriculum, but the way it was designed and the way it was conceived, that you have an instructor who's a mentor and helper, because for new IT people coming in, it's often not easy to learn. We have another product called Red Hat Online Learning that's a self-paced program, which should be exactly designed for you. Somebody kind of knows what they're doing and we're supposed to do it on their own. That's designed for you also. So this product sits in a different spot than that product. Does that answer your question? Any other questions?
What's the cost for something like this?
This is strictly goes to the school, and it's on a school-wide basis. And so if you're interested in cost, you know, as a school, are you working in a school? Okay, as a school, it's a deal, and what we've designed it is that the school takes the burden. It may pass some of the costs on, or it may put it inside the state depending on the situation of how it operates, and that lets you get in. Functionally, what we're interested in is turning out certified professionals, because that's what's going to change your career track. You know, when we looked at Cisco, I looked at Microsoft, and I found out that, you know, when we do the Microsoft Academy and the Cisco Academy, less than 10% of students who graduate take the exams and certification. So they never get the benefits of that. So we look for an opposite direction. We said, for us, it's all about getting you certified, because that changes your career track, it changes your life. And, you know, the material doesn't matter that much. We'll get that all done. Once you certify, that's what's important. So when we start talking about pricing, you have to realize what we're focused on is turning certified people out, and the costs that are associated with that, we got to cover. And everything else we work with. Does that make sense? And so it's really on a case-by-case basis. What's the school? What's the size? What are we dealing with?